I think I've talked plenty about the Blackhawks over the past few days, and on a non-game day, I figured I'd just make a little broader NHL video here. We are reacting to the Athletics' bold season predictions. Now, I'm going to buy or sell these. I have not seen them. Going to be raw reactions, so apologies if the analysis isn't 100%. These are just going to be my raw reactions. I have not seen these yet, and I'm going to buy or sell them. Now, me buying them doesn't necessarily mean I think it's likely to happen or I think it's guaranteed to happen, but more so that I could see it happening. And that's what we're going to be doing in this video. Let's get into it, starting with the Anaheim Ducks. And the bold prediction is that they will make the playoffs. Now, I think I'm going to buy this one. I think I could see it happening now. It's more of an outside chance. Obviously, this is a bold prediction, but I think the Pacific Division outside of, your top guys like Vegas and Edmonton and probably LA that are locked in there, that fourth spot I feel like could be the Ducks if they have a huge bump. Now, why this could happen? Well, you're obviously looking for strides from guys like Leo Carlson. They locked up Jackson Lacombe to a long-term extension, and you're also getting a new coach bump from Joel Quenneville. So I could see this happening. It's going to be a pretty big jump that they would have to take. But if the young core progresses really fast and they get a good bump from Quenneville, they have Lucas Dostal in goal for a full season this year. He will be the starter, and he looks like a goalie that has a lot of potential to be a 1A goalie in the league. So I don't necessarily think it's super likely, but I could definitely see this happening. I don't hate this bold prediction. I'm going to buy this one. Boston Bruins, Jeremy Swayman will enter the Olympic conversation. He rebounds after a career worst year. I'm also going to buy this one. I think Swayman's year last year was a bit of an outlier. The contract stuff at the beginning of the year feels like it really threw him off to start, and he never really found his footing. He had a career worst, I believe, 892 save percentage. I definitely think that jumps up this year. Now, Swayman is American-born, being born in Alaska, so he's going to have to compete with guys like Connor Hellebuck and Jake Ottinger, which makes it a little bit tough. But to enter the conversation, I totally think it's plausible if he can bounce back. Boston's gotten off to a hot start this year, and Swayman's looked decent to start. I think there is definitely a good reason to think he will bounce back. That Bruins D-core is not as bad as advertised, I feel like. I don't think the team overall is going to be too good, but they have a decent D-core, and Swayman definitely has the potential to be very good. I mean, we've seen it in years past. Now on to the Buffalo Sabres. Zach Benson will break out with 60 points. Now, Benson is out to begin the year with an injury. I don't know how recent this is, especially since they're saying he's going to play on the line with Thompson and Norris is going to be out for 2 months. So I don't know if I'm going to buy this one, but 60 points playing with Tage Thompson feels like it's plausible. I think I am ultimately going to sell this, though. Benson hasn't eclipsed 30 points in a season yet in his first 2 years in the NHL. And while in a few years, I definitely think Benson can be a 60-point player for this upcoming year, especially with him starting the year injured. I don't know exactly how severe that injury is, but then you also have, his projected line mate Josh Norris going down. I don't think this is going to be the year we see Benson jump up to 60 points. He'd have to double his production this year, which I don't really see happening. But I think in the future, though, Benson could hit the 60-point mark. He is a talented younger forward. Moving on to the Calgary Flames, Matt Coronato will lead the team in goals. This is interesting. I feel like this is this does have a possibility of happening. Kadri led the team with 35 last year, but the Flames are a weird team. They don't really have like a one star player, one star forward, especially. Coronato's actually started the year pretty well with 2 goals in his first 3 games. So honestly, yeah, I'm going to buy this one. I think this definitely can happen. Really, he's competing with Nazem Kadri to lead the Flames in goals, and I could definitely see Coronato, who's a really talented player, leading the team. Now on to the Hurricanes. Alexander Nikishin will win the Calder Trophy. This one I'm going to sell. I think this Calder race is just, there's too many players that have a chance to win it. I don't think it's going to be Nikishin. Now, the benefit for him is that he's on a really good team. That could definitely help his case. I mean, Brock Faber a few years back didn't necessarily have like the craziest point season ever, but he was on a really good team. He was playing big minutes on that team, and that led him in the conversation. But for Nikishin, I don't think it's going to happen. I think there's just too many players that could make the jump that are in just a little bit, getting a little more opportunity than he is. Nikishin's not on the power play, where you look at a guy like Sam Rinzel, who's going to be PP1, Zeev Buium's PP1 in Minnesota. So you have those guys. Obviously, Ivan Demidov. Matthew Schaefer's looked unreal to start his career. I was not expecting him to look this good right away, but now he's entered the conversation. There's just a ton of guys down the board as you go down. Jimmy Snuggerud even had, I think, a 2-goal game last night. So there's just a lot of guys competing for this Calder Trophy. I don't think Nikishin's going to win it, though. I think he is going to have an impressive rookie season on a really good Hurricanes team. Alrighty, Chicago Blackhawks. It is that Sam Rinzel will win the Calder Trophy. Was hoping for something super interesting, but this is kind of one that has been talked about plenty by me, by a lot of people, in terms of Blackhawks hot takes here. So Rinzel to win the Calder. Talked about this a lot already. Definitely think there's a good shot too. I think what's more likely is he pushes into the top 3. Maybe he's a Calder finalist. I'm not sure he's going to win it, but he has a good chance to. He's going to be getting a decent amount of ice time. He's on power play 1, which really benefits him. Now, the Blackhawks are limiting his ice time a little more carefully. Last night, he only played 14 minutes and 30 seconds in that one, so they're going to limit his ice time a little more, but he's still going to be on the power play, and he still is going to be on the first pair, playing good minutes. He's a really talented defenseman, should be able to put up decent points. So I think it's totally possible, but I don't know if he's necessarily the favorite, or he's certainly not the favorite to. But as a bold take, I'll buy it because I could see this one happening. I think more realistically, he probably finishes in the top 3, but I think he has a chance to win this one. So I'll buy this take here. Moving on to the Colorado Avalanche. Mackenzie Blackwood and Scott Wedgwood will win the William M. Jennings. Now, this is to win the William M. Jennings. I think I'm going to sell that. I just don't think I can see this being the best goalie tandem in the league, though I will say I think it's going to be really good. Scott Wedgwood has started the year with Blackwood out the first few games here, and he's looked really, really good, turning really strong performances. He's a more than capable backup. He's a real good backup. I remember when the Blackhawks were playing the Avalanche last season, Wedgwood was just owning them, and he's looked really good to start this season, and Blackwood was really good with the Avalanche towards the end of last year and into the playoffs. So I think this will be a good tandem, but I don't think it's going to be the best one in the league. I think that's just too bold for me. I'm going to sell this take. Columbus Blue Jackets. Jet Greaves will take off. I am definitely going to buy this one. I really like what I've seen out of Jet Greaves. He came in last year and was unreal in his NHL games after having a really strong few years in the AHL. Jet Greaves is a former 7th round pick that has just developed so well for the Blue Jackets. I definitely see him taking off, and I think he is going to be Columbus's starting goalie as we get through most of the season, if he's not already. Elvis Merzlikins has just really struggled over the past few years, and I think he's on the decline more so, and Jet Greaves is on the upward trajectory. I think Greaves will be the clear starter for Columbus by the end of this season, and I think he's going to have a really good year this year. Next, moving on here to the Dallas Stars. Thomas Harley will be a Norris Trophy finalist. This one I'm going to sell. I can't see him being in the Norris conversation. Obviously, Harley's just such a good defenseman for the Dallas Stars. He's really been competing with Miro Heiskanen for who's the top defenseman on the team, with Heiskanen's injuries last year and just how good Harley has been playing. So he is a really good defenseman, but I can't see him being in the Norris conversation. I feel like the tier 1 of defensemen is just so good. I just can't see anyone outside of Makar, Quinn Hughes, Zach Werenski, or Rasmus Dahlin being in the Norris conversation, if I'm being honest. So I am going to sell this one for sure. But Harley is a very talented defenseman. Moving on to the Detroit Red Wings. Lucas Raymond will hit 90 points. Now, I feel like there's a stat like Detroit hasn't had a 90-point score or something in some large number of years. And will Raymond hit it this year? I think it's entirely possible. I mean, Larkin is on that top line with Raymond, and that's a really good duo. And Raymond's just such a skilled player that I could see it happening. Now, will he hit 90 points? I think I am going to buy this one because he had 80 points last season. It's not like out of the realm of possibility. He doesn't have to take us like insane leap. Obviously, 90 points is a lot, but I could see it definitely happening. Larkin's very good. Who will the Red Wings fill in on that first line? I think Marco Kasper got a good look on that top line last year, and he was pretty good in that role. But just Raymond taking another step in his own game, I think could push him up to 90 points. I'm going to buy this one as a bold take. Moving on to the Edmonton Oilers, Evan Bouchard will be a Norris Trophy finalist. Now, I really only talk about Blackhawks on this channel, so I don't think I've shared too many of my opinions on Evan Bouchard, but I'm going to sell this take. I don't think he's going to be a Norris Trophy finalist just because I don't like what he does on the defensive end. I think he's one of the worst defensive defensemen in the league. Now, offensively, very, very talented. He has a really good shot. He's a real good power play quarterback in Edmonton, really feeds McDavid and Draisaitl very well, and obviously has just that insane shot. Very good production offensively, but just defensively, you're not getting it. He's one of, like, I'm not going to ramble on too much, but I'm going to sell this take. I don't think he's in the tier 1 of defensemen of the guys I mentioned when we were talking about Harley. So I am going to sell that Bouchard will be a Norris Trophy finalist. Florida Panthers, they will make a blockbuster trade to replace Alexander Barkov. This one I'm going to sell. I don't think that they need to make a blockbuster trade to replace Barkov. It feels like there's a chance Barkov could return for the postseason, and really for Florida, you just need to make the postseason. I think they feel confident enough that when they're healthy, they can beat any team, no matter who they match up against. So for Florida, I think they're really just focused on making it to the postseason. You'll get your Chuck back here in a few months, and they've started off the season pretty hot, going 3-1 over their first 4 games. So I just don't think there's the need for Florida to make a blockbuster trade to replace Barkov. Yeah, maybe as we get a little more into the season and potentially they're struggling a little bit, they might fill in down the board and get a depth guy or maybe a third line player or something of that nature. But a blockbuster trade, I don't see that happening. I don't know who they would move to make a blockbuster trade. They've, traded their picks this year to the Blackhawks already. They don't have like a super big name top prospect to deal. Like, I don't see them really wanting to mess with their team so much, especially with Barkov. There's a chance he could return for the playoffs, and the fact that they'll be getting Tkachuk back here in a few months. I'm going to sell this one for sure. Los Angeles Kings, Brandt Clarke will break out with 50 points. I think this one's tough. It really depends on how much playing time he's going to get. I'm not going to act like I know, like exactly how the playing time's been divided out in LA, but I do know that they have Drew Doughty there, and he's going to continue to play top pair minutes as long as he goes. I mean, just looking at last game, Doughty got 25 minutes, Clarke played 18. Now, I think Clarke will be good. I don't know if he's going to hit the 50 point. That's just a little bit too bold for me. I think I'm going to sell this one for right now, but I definitely think in the future we get, 2-3 years down the line, Clarke, it can definitely be a 50-point player. He's very, very talented. I just don't know if there's enough opportunity for him this season to get there, but I could very much be wrong. Moving on to the Minnesota Wild, Matt Boldy will rack up 50 goals and 50 assists. That is very, very bold of a prediction, and I am going to sell this one. I just don't think it's going to happen. Now, that Minnesota Wild, the top end of the Minnesota Wild is very talented with Kirill Kaprizov. We have Matt Boldy, Joel Eriksson on the back end, playing on that first unit power play with Boldy and Kaprizov. Zeke Bouillon is very, very good as well. But for Boldy to rack up 50 goals and 50 assists, that's just way too bold for me. I'm definitely going to sell that one. Boldy's very talented, but that is just insanely bold, and especially considering his career high is 31 goals. I just can't see 50 out of Boldy this year. Moving on here, Montreal Canadiens, Juraj Slafkovsky will score 30 goals. This is an interesting take. Now, Slafkovsky did score versus the Blackhawks in their game a few days ago. For him to get 30, I just don't know if there's enough opportunities. Is he going to be playing enough for him to score 30 goals? I mean, he is playing in a first-line role according to Canadiens' recent lines, and he's had 20 the past 2 seasons. I'll buy this one. If he's going to continue to play in a top-line role, I definitely think he's a talented enough player to be a 30-goal scorer, especially in a good role, and it is going to be his 4th NHL season. He looked good in the Canadiens game versus the Blackhawks. I'll buy this one here for Slafkovsky. Nashville Predators, Andrew Brunette will still be the team's coach at the end of the season. I am going to sell this take. I do not think the Predators are going to have a better season than they did last year. I think this is going to be one of the worst teams in hockey. I'm expecting probably a bottom 5 finish for the Predators, which will likely mean that their coach will get canned by the end of the season. So I'm going to sell this one. I'm not very high on the Predators. This one could age badly, who knows, but I just don't really see them being out of the bottom 5. New Jersey Devils, man, I don't know how to pronounce this name, but I do know who this is. But for him to finish top 5 in Calder Trophy voting now, it says he's starting on the 4th line, but I've seen this guy play. He's very, very talented. Will he finish top 5 again in a stacked Calder Trophy class? I'm going to buy this one. I think it's possible for him to finish in the top 5. It really feels like there's a lot of guys that could finish there, as I've mentioned. But I don't know how to say his name. I'm sorry. I'm sure I'll learn it as I watch some Devils games this year. But I have seen him play. He is very talented. And as a bolder prediction, definitely could see him in finishing in the top 5 of the Calder Trophy race. It really feels like it's going to be up for grabs this year. Maybe not necessarily on the top end. It feels like there's only a few guys that are truly competing to win the trophy. But when we're talking about top 5, top 7, top 10, it feels like a lot of different names could finish in there and get some votes. New York Islanders, Matt Barzal putting up 90 points. Whoa, I'm going to sell this one. This one's just too hot of a take for me. I definitely like Barzal a lot, but man, 90 points, I can't see it on the Islanders team. I don't think there's any way anyone on the Islanders is over point per game. Now, Matthew Schaefer taking over the first unit power play, I'm sure that'll help. Obviously, hoping for a full healthy season out of Barzal, but 90 points is just too bold for me. I can't get behind that one. Gonna sell that take. New York Rangers, their lineup will have 6 players who are 23 or younger by February. Now this one, I honestly not too sure about like the exact age of everybody and their lineup. I know they have some younger guys now. They have Will Cooley's under 23, Rempe. Will they have 6 players in the lineup? I guess what this would imply is that they're going to be pretty bad and their team's not going to be great. They're going to look to get younger throughout the season and try to get some of their younger guys developed. If that's the case, I'm going to sell. I think the Rangers will be a competitive team this year, and I think they'll end up at least close, very close to a wild spot if they don't make it in. So if that's what that's implying, I'm going to sell this take. Now, just in terms of could Gabe Perreault, who's a very good prospect, make the lineup throughout the season, I'm not really sure how everything's going to pan out in New York. So I'm going to sell that take. Ottawa Senators, Jake Sanderson will win the Norris Trophy. Now, Jake Sanderson, interesting. And I said, I don't know if I can see anyone in that tier 1 of defensemen that I named winning the Norris Trophy. And for that reason, I'm going to sell this take. However, if this said like he will finish top 3, top 5 in Norris Trophy voting, I would definitely buy it, especially top 5. I think he can definitely finish in the top 5. Sanderson's a very, very talented defenseman that I think can put up the numbers this year to actually get him some votes. Now, he's very good out there in Ottawa. He's now the number 1 defenseman on that team, and I think this year is the year that he can actually put the production and get to the production level that gets you in the Norris Trophy potential conversation. I'm going to sell this one because it says he will win it, and I just don't see him being better than some of the top-end guys like Werenski, Hughes, and Makar, but I think he can definitely finish top 5 in Norris Trophy voting. Philadelphia Flyers, they will trade for Quinn Hughes. That is a crazy bold prediction. I like that feels very random to me. I think I have to sell this. Just my initial reaction to that is that I'm going to sell this take. I just have no idea how the Flyers would get Hughes. Now, if the Canucks stink this year and they do end up moving Hughes, looking to move Hughes, I don't see how Philadelphia would be the spot for him. I don't know what they would move. I mean, I'm sure they have a decent amount of assets, but I just can't see Hughes really. I feel like if Hughes is going to get traded, it feels like it's going to be to New Jersey. But Philadelphia of all places just feels kind of random to me. I don't really see why they would, spend the haul to get Quinn Hughes. It just doesn't make a ton of sense. I don't think Philadelphia is going to be competing for a wild card spot this year. Pittsburgh Penguins, Brian Russ will not be traded. This one, I don't know. It's okay. Sure. I don't know. It's not like that crazy. What does this imply? Like that they're gonna be good? No, I don't think they're gonna be that good of a team. Does it just imply that they want a good veteran to stick around and lead the rebuilding team? If that's the case, sure, I'll buy this take. Not too much of an opinion from me there. San Jose Sharks, they will re-sign John Klingberg. Again, this one's like, that nice. Yeah, sure. I'll buy this one. The Sharks re-sign John Klingberg. Their defense is really, really bad. So I guess they'll take all the help you can get. Just not too much of an opinion there for me. Moving on, Seattle Kraken, Shane Wright will break out. Now, I think I will buy this one. I don't see why I wouldn't. There's really no reason to believe that Shane Wright's going to take a step back this year. He will be locked into a top 6 role in Seattle, and that team that's kind of in the middle of being like a rebuilding really bad team to being a wild card contender. They're kind of stuck in that like bottom 8, bottom 10 range. And I don't see any reason why Wright can't blossom, really. He will be in a really good role. He's got good opportunities. That top 6 forward group isn't terrible, I think. There's no reason for me to say no, he's not, or sell this take that he is going to break out, especially as a bolder take. I like this one here for the Kraken. St. Louis Blues, they will give up the fewest 6-on-5 goals in the NHL. They will give up the fewest 6-on-5 goals in the league. So I think that implies like when they're up by 1 goal, that they're going to be the best defensive team. Like, again, this one's like one, like, I don't watch every Blues game. I don't watch Blues practices. I don't know what they're practicing here. So I'm going to sell this one because, why would I buy this for the St. Louis Blues? Why would I buy this one? So I'm going to sell that. Not too much of analysis for me on that one. Tampa Bay Lightning, they will go to the Stanley Cup Final. I'm going to buy this one. In my season predictions, which I didn't end up getting a chance to post on here because it was a busy Blackhawks, lots of Blackhawk content to talk about. But I think I do have Tampa Bay in the Cup Finals in my season predictions. I really like Tampa Bay this year. I don't see why they can't continue to be really good in the postseason. I think they're just such a good team. They have the elite goaltender, the number 1 defenseman, and an amazing top line. So yeah, I'm gonna buy this one. I really like the Lightning this year, and I think that I think they can win or get to the Stanley Cup Final. I think that's totally plausible. Toronto Maple Leafs, Matthew Knies will lead the NHL in shorthanded goals. Knies has never scored even 1 shorthanded goal in his NHL career, but he's about to see the opportunity on the Leafs penalty kill jump in Mitch Marner's absence. I'm gonna sell this one. I feel like this one's kind of like, oh, we got a goal scorer that's gonna be on the penalty kill, so he has to lead the league in shorthanded goals, right? I just don't think. I think that's just too aggressive. That's what it kind of feels like to me. So I'm gonna sell this one. I think really, if you want someone that's gonna lead the league in shorthanded goals, I'm thinking Frankie Nazar does it this year with his electric speed and the Blackhawks' aggressive penalty kill. But yeah, Knies, it just kind of feels like, all right, now he's on the penalty kill, so he's gonna score a ton, right? I don't think it's really going to work like that, but who knows, I guess. So I'm going to sell that one, though. We'll see. Utah Mammoth, Dylan Guenther will finish top 5 in the league for goals. Whoa, I think I'm going to have to sell this one now. Guenther is a really, really good goal scorer, and he plays on a Utah team that has a ton of talented forwards, and being, more of a sniper, more of a finisher for Guenther with a league on a team with so many playmakers. I think there's definitely possibility that he could, get close to 40 this year, but to be top 5 in the league in goals, I'm going to have to sell that. That's just a little bit too bold for me. I can't see that one happening. Vancouver, or at least not happening this year. Who knows here a couple of years down the line. Vancouver Canucks, Filip Chytil will be the team's 2nd most valuable forward this season behind Elias Pettersson. Yeah, I mean, off the top of my head, I feel like this is a fair take. I'll buy this one. I mean, really, who else is it going to be? Brock Besser, maybe? I don't know. I think Chytil, it's dealt with the concussion and the head injuries over the past few years. I really don't see any reason why he can't be. He'll get a good role being the team's number 2 center. Definitely wouldn't buy this if you said he'll be the number 1. I think Elias Pettersson's going to have a much better year than last season. But for Chytil, I think there's definitely, a chance he is one of the better forwards on the Canucks. I think he can be, a top 2 forward on the team. And hopefully it's a team that is decent offensively, or else Quinn Hughes is going to be asking out of there. Vegas Golden Knights, Jack Eichel will score the most goals in franchise history. The current mark is William Karlsson's 43 goals. For Eichel to score 44, I'll buy this one, honestly. I think Eichel is one, he's still one of the top goal scorers in the league, and now you're putting him with, a top 10, 15 player in Mitch Marner, who's one of the best playmakers in the league. Putting him on his line, I'm definitely going to buy this one. Really high on the Vegas Golden Knights this year. I think I have them as well going to the Stanley Cup final, maybe even winning the Stanley Cup. I should probably touch up on my predictions that I made. And I think Jack Eichel, who is the leader of this team, who just got the bag, a huge 8-year extension, I'm definitely going to buy this one. Really high on the Golden Knights and Jack Eichel this year. Washington Capitals, Tom Wilson will lead the league in goals. Wow. I'm gonna sell this one. I still think it's gonna be Ovi this year. I just can't see it not being Alexander Ovechkin. But even if it's not Tom Wilson being the goal scoring leader, let me look up his stats. Dang, he had 33 last year. Actually, I didn't even realize that. I must have been sleeping. But yeah, that has not been a constant trend. The year before he had 18. Year before he was pretty banged up. But wow, 33 from Tom Wilson this year. So I guess, yeah, he'd probably be in second place. Now, I just still don't see it being better than Ovi. I think Ovi's going to lead that team in goals until he retires. But I guess there's a chance Tom Wilson does. They have talented forwards like Protas, like Pierre-Luc Dubois, but I guess it definitely could be Wilson who does it, even though I think I would vote for my guy, Alexi Protas, over there in Washington. Huge fan of him, and I think he might be the number 2 guy if he can take another step after a big breakout year last year. Winnipeg Jets, Jonathan Toews will play exactly 57 regular season games. Really went through week by week on the Jets calendar, estimating load management, guessing at injuries, and going by feel to land on 57 regular season games for Jonathan Toews. This has to be the most interesting bold prediction of, maybe besides the Flyers one. Toews to play exactly 57 regular. Sure, I'll buy this one. If you did all that work and you landed on 57, who am I to tell you that it's going to be 58 or 56? No, I will let you, I will buy this take and support your analysis to land on exactly 57 games. So I think, yeah, that does it for this article. Just going over some buy or sell bold NHL predictions. Just kind of a fun little quick read here. I feel like these are kind of fun videos to do on Blackhawks non-game days, just to keep the content flowing, talk a little bit more broadly at the NHL, share some of my overall NHL thoughts if I have any, because obviously lots of Blackhawks focused videos on this channel, but I do watch more than just the Blackhawks, so I feel like it's decent to share. Let me know your thoughts on any of these bold takes. Where was my puck knowledge lacking? What team do I not know anything about? Let me know in the comments. That's going to do it for this one.